Hello everybody, welcome back to the Collector's Vault. My name is Mike, and as you can kind of see that there's a bit of a scenery change. In my previous videos I only really had my hands, and from what I'm told, I have a very animated face, and I'm just animated in general. So I figured it'd be kind of good to actually have my face in the videos. Actually, I'm Italian too, maybe that's why my hands are so, I talk with my hands a lot. That's probably why I only really wanted the videos initially to have my hands in them. But today we're going to be talking about Charizard. As you probably can already tell, I have the Charizards laid out here. Charizard is probably one of the most, if not the most popular Pokemon in the entire game. I'm pretty sure that's very debatable. Some people can probably say that no, there's Blastoise and Venusaur. Personally, Blastoise is my favorite. I know Venusaur I think is the least favorite of the trio. And then there's obviously Pikachu, which I guess probably is arguably the most popular Pokemon just because everyone knows who Pikachu is. He's like Mario. You can't say, oh, who's the most popular Mario character? It's probably just Mario because everyone knows who Mario is. But I wanted to talk to everyone today about Charizard, kind of like as a whole, like not just with the trading cards, but even like with other collectibles, toys, plushies, and amiibos, figures, anything Charizard. And I guess this is also kind of involves just Pokemon as a whole too, not just Charizard, but Charizard especially because, as we all know, Charizard is, as I said, arguably the most popular Pokemon. He in the card game, he definitely is the most popular Pokemon because there's a reason why the PSA 10 First Ed Charizard goes for such a high premium. It is the flagship of the whole card game. It's the holy grail, you know. And whether you have those, the toys, the cards, Charizard is just very, very popular. Even when you go to the flea markets, I'm there all the time. And if you see people with Charizard action figures, Charizard anything, like not even just the cards, I mean like even like stickers, posters, books. If they have Charizard on it, then people know it's Charizard, it's worth some kind of a premium. They know, no, I can't let that go for a quarter, even though it's probably all that plushie's worth. The plushie is probably worth 5 cents from, that's probably made in the factory for. But if it's Charizard, people are starting to know now it's worth money. And to an extent, they're probably somewhat correct. In the card game especially, I would say, like, yeah, if you have, like, a graded Charizard right now, it's probably a good investment. It's definitely a good investment. I'm not gonna dance around the idea that it might be a good investment. It is a good investment, and I can't tell people what to do. I can't tell people what to invest in. But this video is basically just a bit of advice to everybody because some people ask me, like, when it comes to not even first ed Charizards or Shadowless or anything, it's more like even like the unlimited base sets, and this can even go for something like the Dark Charizards in Team Rocket, the Blaine's Charizard in the Gym series, the Crystal Charizard, especially in the Expedition sets. Was that Skyridge? I think it was. Yeah, and people say of all those Charizard cards, should they be investable? Should they be not investable? They're obviously investable. Should you be picking them up? Should you be picking up Charizards? My advice is yes. I think you should be picking up as many Charizards as possible. And it's not just because he's popular. I mean, it's partly that, but mainly because Charizard has solidified himself as like a legacy and like he truly is like he's earned his role as the flagship card in all Pokemon. And the reason I'm kind of making this video is because we all know, well, at least if you don't know, when Pokemon Go came out, coming up on 3 years ago now, it was a big hit. Everyone loved it. It was a mobile game that brought fans back into Pokemon. It created fans, like people who never even, I think it made a lot of people fans who never played Pokemon. It was more casual. You didn't actually play the usual Pokemon game. It was just, you walk around, you catch Pokemon, it was fun. I mean, like, you can't lie and say that people didn't like it. They did. But what happened was, not only the popularity of Pokemon increased, it was also the card game, the Pokemon collectible trading card game, these iconic cards, even things down to the Unlimited, to the first edition, they all just became more valuable. They skyrocketed. Well, I guess more so the first editions skyrocketed in price. I mean, what over the last 3 years, a PSA 10 Charizard base set, I think it used to go for anywhere between like 10 to 15,000, and then like by the end of 2016, 2017, they were $20,000, and now as of right now, the highest price that a first ed PSA 10 Charizard sold for was 40 grand. I mean, it's exponentially growing. Like it's not like it's not linear. This is a huge curve. And my theory is that we're going to see this again. It's not going to be because of a new. Well, actually, it might be. Before I say anything, I was going to say it's not because of a game. I think it might be because of a new Pokemon game, which is the new Pokemon Shield and Sword coming out. I do believe that with that game coming out, that's going to definitely help with the popularity because this game has such a huge scope. It's going to be on the Switch. It's going to be like not on a Game Boy or the 3DS or whatever, which basically is like a glorified Game Boy. But the Switch is so big right now. The new game is going to be on the Switch. It's going to be around the holiday season. So this whole year, people are going to be hyped up for that game. And it's going to, I think, really just hype up Pokemon in general. And I think that's going to affect the prices of these premium cards, especially Charizard, because he is the flagship card. And the more important thing I want to bring up to everybody is we all know that there's a Pokemon movie coming out, Detective Pikachu. To be honest, I think the movie's going to be really fun. I think it looks like a really fun movie. I don't think it's going to be like Avatar. I don't think it's going to be like a movie that's going to blow people away visually. It's going to like make $1 billion. But to be honest, who knows? It's Pokemon. It's the first live action Pokemon movie. I don't know why it took 20 years for them to make a Pokemon movie, but to make a live action Pokemon movie, because obviously they've had plenty of the cartoons, which are, I guess they were popular among Pokemon fans. But this is going to be a movie that parents are going to be taking their kids, people my age, like the 90s kids that grew up with Pokemon, we're most likely all going to go. I know I'm going to go. Just because I want to see it. I think it looks like it's going to be a really fun movie. I don't think it's going to be bad. But that's just me maybe getting my hopes up. And I know there's a lot of people who are older than me. People who, like, over the last 20 years, like, they're probably in their 60s now, but maybe when they're in their 40s, they like Pokemon. I'm pretty sure they're going to go see it. I do think that this movie is going to make another resurgence in Pokemon. Especially with the card, like the vintage cards. Charizard is a great example. After Pokemon Go, people started picking up the cards again. People got into the game. People not so much into the game. They started liking the cards. It was nostalgia. I think it's going to happen again. I would like to make a prediction that it probably won't happen, immediately. But I do think over the course of this year, up until holiday season, when we get the new Pokemon Switch game, I do think we're going to see maybe an upsurge. Well, I shouldn't say maybe. We're definitely going to see a resurgence in Pokemon popularity. I can see all of the vintage cards skyrocketing in price again, maybe even up to like 50%. And I know people might think it's not that much because I just threw this card, but right now, based on Unlimited Charizard, like I'm saying, I say pick these up. Why wouldn't you pick these cards up? In my opinion, they're way underpriced. These things are these were about $100 like a few years ago. Like you can probably sell this for if it was a near mint condition, you can get this. You can probably sell for $100. Now, not so much. I couldn't tell you why, but the price is now floating anywhere between $50 to $75, maybe up to $100. And if people are asking $100 for this, they're usually, well, at least for me, just because I know what I can get these for. People, if someone asks $100 for one of these, it better be like a gem mint ungraded Charizard, because you can get near mints again, like anywhere between like 50 and 75 sometimes nowadays. I can't explain why, but to me, that's a great opportunity to pick these up. I feel like get as many. It doesn't even have to be first edition Charizards. It doesn't have to be Shining Charizards. It can just be, if it's a vintage Charizard card based at Team Rocket, Gym Series, Expedition Series, Charizards are just, it's that flagship card that I think you should be investing in once again, just because I promise you, after this Pokemon movie and towards the end of this year, when the new game comes out, I believe we're going to see another huge resurgence of Pokemon. And these cards, especially the Charizard cards, are going to just go up in price again. especially for what these cards are going for. Like, even though, as I said, maybe go up by 50%. So let's say this goes for about 75 now. 50% is like around like roughly 37, 38 bucks. Okay, this card will then maybe be solidified back over $100 again. Which, hey, that is an increase. I think that's well worth the investment. But more importantly, if we saw the first edition base set Charizards, especially the PSA 10, we saw that shoot up exponentially over the last 3 years, between 10 to 15,000 up until 40,000. Like, I would say in the last 2 years, it went from that 20 grand to 40 grand jump. That's insane. It's completely insane. So imagine it going up by 50% over the next year. So what's that? An additional $20,000. Like, what if PSA 10 first and Charizards go to $60,000 by the end of the year? That's insane, and I don't think that's unlikely to happen. Again, because if it was able to jump by 200% over the last 2 years, it's not unlikely to think that it might increase by 50% over the course of 1 year, especially when you have something as amazing, or not, I shouldn't say amazing, but just as big as the first live action Pokemon movie coming out, and quite possibly the biggest Pokemon video game being made. So on a very popular system, I have to add, because right now the Switch is so successful. Like, I really do believe that it's going to make the new Pokemon game it's going to make that super successful, and I do believe it's going to make Pokemon as a whole become even more successful, and it's just going to make these cards much more expensive. So that's just my advice. Just, if you ever do happen to get a chance to pick up a Charizard, I think now's the time to invest. I'm not saying I think it's always a good time to invest in Charizards and Pokemon, because they're just a very good investment, in my opinion. I can't tell you to do it. I can't tell you to go out there and buy it. I'm just giving you some advice that over the next year, I like to bet after this movie, we're gonna see a huge resurgence of Pokemon popularity. But yeah, that's just my thoughts. I just wanted to let you guys know that, kind of like just a little friendly advice. I mean, who knows? I could be wrong. Maybe the movie sucks and Charizard's depreciating value. And if that happens, I'll be first in line to try to pick them up when they get cheaper. Because at this point, they're not getting any cheaper. So if they do, that gives you an even better opportunity to pick them up. But yeah, so I think that's it for now. Take it easy.